the serve against Tyson McGuffin, Meghan Dizon. Yeah, and this is a big difference from our singles. It's our points are already a little bit more exciting. Our first point in, and they're starting off at 1-0 right out the gate. And this is a team we're seeing quite a bit playing together this year. Tina Pisnik and Dekel Bar. It's kind of, we've talked about this in previous matches, that side that Pisnik and Bar are on tends to be the favorable side. And it's a second leg court already that Dekel has had, and it's helped them. It started off a 4-0 lead pretty quickly. I like that changeup. It's been kind of a little bit of dinking cross court. Dizon really was like, I've got to do something different. Let's see if we can surprise Bar a little bit with a little bit of a body shot, and it helped. So they've gotten a side out to their side. And again, this is seen some heavily veteran Tyson McGuffin and Dekel Bars, mixed doubles players. I played about a year with Tyson at the start, and both are very dominant when they're playing mixed. Great movers, big guys, a lot of strong shots, and you kind of see a little error out of Bar there, and we're getting a 2-4. So you can have a start at 0-4. It doesn't mean anything. I will say that's 3 balls down the middle that Pisnik and Bar have gotten away with that just kind of seemed like they were not reacting to. It is. That's like, it's always been something. Dekel's a big guy. I think, honestly, the serve change is probably not affects Dekel that much. He's always had a minimal ball. He's so big. He's able to do so much with the serve without kind of making too much of a toss or too much with the ball. Well, that time they had the middle ready. They were kind of waiting for him to kind of go through there. And let's go into second serve. You can see that, like, it doesn't look like much effort when Bar is going for that, but like I was saying earlier in our singles, what we're seeing more is kind of that back leg coming up to get a little bit more momentum of the body behind the ball. Yeah, it's a kind of seemed like not a very common one, just one shot in. It wasn't a long point, so a little surprising. Right there, that's Dizon is very long. When she starts to use that length and gets that reach into the non-volley zone, she can get a nice trajectory over the ball. Go, and that's it's a smart shot. Tyson's trying to put some pressure on them. Anytime you're coming out of that stack too, it is a longer way to go. So if you can get a good serve off that, take advantage of that third shot and try to jam them up while they're trying to get into position, is going to give you a lot of options. But I like this changeup here. See, they didn't switch the stack this time, and I'm guessing a little bit because of that issue. Again, they're going for that middle space, and they've gotten away with it. It was just a little bit of an over hit, but I like that shot. It's kind of like a long dink. And what I like about being able to switch that sack, 'cause we do talk a lot about, especially in mixed, having that big forehand in the middle. Well, you also have someone so big like Dekel, it doesn't matter what side they play. They could still be aggressive off both wings. And what that's going to do is maybe put a little pressure on Dizon and McGuffin to change their targets a little bit and have to make adjustments on the fly. And that same thing, Dizon went for the same shot that Pisnik went for, and it will work. They should keep going for it. Oh, that's a fantastic point. It's a patient point. Dizon really kind of stayed in it, and Pisnik just caught on her heels a little bit, causing the error. But those are the kind of the points that they need right now. You need to break them down a little bit and just play intelligently.
Yeah.
Like, Dizon. That's yeah, and that's I mean that was it was ambitious. I'm not gonna lie, but it worked. Got the ball back and see what adjustments they can make. I mean, that's some fantastic defense from Dizon and McGuffin, and I mean, Barr's just taking over that net, wanting to punish every shot, which it worked, and they stayed in as long as they could, but they're again trying to see if they can get some more points on the board. I think that was an intelligent play from McGuffin. It was going behind Dekel soft a little bit, and then that did open up Pisnik. He was a little off balance, wasn't really ready for that attack, but that I think is what he has to keep doing. They've got to kind of open Dekel up a little bit and maybe make Pisnik a little bit more vulnerable to some of those attacks. So it's kind of that same. He's got the right idea with these attacks, but if Pisnik is there and just getting it back, I always say your number one rule with an attack is you've got to be ready for it to come back. We're coming back in at 9-4. Game point. I mean, it's a great point. Again, that's
the official ball of the PPA Tour.
Not allow them to hyper focus on Pisnik, because that's just going to allow Barr to get in much quicker. And that's the second foot call to McGuffin, which I am really surprised about. I don't think anyone noticed that coming. Because again, it was the right play. So they are having a discussion. Everyone's kind of having a discussion when it happened, how it happened. And again, it's the benefit of 2 referees. You got an angle from both sides, so you're double timing essentially on the feet. And it is kind of going back to a replay there, I think, is the decision. So I love that. I love that Dizon was looking for that. She sped up. She went and attacked that 5th shot, but then she went to kind of block the 7th. And so, but the play is good. Again, it's just being ready for the 2nd, 3rd ball, not just the 1 attack, but keep looking, keep looking. I mean, fantastic defense going back. Barr and Pisnik at the baseline. Barr got him back in the point. They got back up to the net. And Dizon then playing defense. So, I mean, just, you know, these two play together a lot. They practice together a lot. So.
Solid shot there by Dekel, straight down the middle. That brings them up. Well, we're at 2-1.
2-1. Yeah. Again, it just the body language. You can see they're working well together, and I think you're just seeing signs of frustration on the other side, and rightfully so. The conditions are tricky. It's frustrating when you feel like you're hitting the right ball, but you're not getting the results you want. Here we go. There's a little positive energy. Let's get going. Let's work together. I mean, that's just unfortunate. It's especially sometimes these nets, you get a good bounce, you get a bad bounce. It's nothing you can do about that situation.
Barr and Pisnik in the lead to 4-1.
Again, it's that middle, and that's often when you're looking at that. Okay, I remind my players all the time: if you return down the middle, there's a good chance the ball's coming back middle, and so that's where that return went. So either of them just need to be ready for that shot coming back to you. So that's good ball movement. That's utilizing the court, which is what they're going to need to do. They're going to need to kind of create some chaos that elongates it and spreads it out so that they're getting more options. And again, like there's a great speed ups from McGuffin, but he wasn't ready for it to come back, and that often happens when someone's kind of rushing attack or they're off balance. But it's the right thing. If he just would have been ready, he would have closed it on the next ball. Okay.
Pick up there, bringing them up to 2-5.
There we go. So then again, now putting a little bit more pressure again on that change up when they're switching sides. If you can get a little bit offensive on that serve, there's a bigger potential that you can get something out of a 3rd shot drive when they're trying to get into their positions.
So our side out brings us back over now to 5-3. Barr serving.
And you can just see from our angle, we're right at that baseline. It's such a high, like, striking on that serve because of his size, and it creates so much pressure for that returner. Yeah, and that's kind of what they're needing. You're hearing it from McGuffin. Yeah, let's go. Starting to feel it a little bit more.
Finding the rhythm here as McGuffin serves.
No.
Here we go. And again, we've seen a lot of points being played off of them getting results from that switching of the sides. So much to draw from now, which is great for our sport, and it's creating these draws and these brackets that are interesting and fun, and we'll only see what happens the next few years. It's pretty insane. So we're coming back out, and you could see kind of the body language. McGuffin and Dizon, they're getting going, they're ready, they want to come back and do their damage in this game. And that's kind of what I'm saying there. So the adjustment that Pisnik and Barr made, they didn't switch on that stack. So that was smart, and Tyson still took advantage of it, but was not ready for the return to come back. And again, it's kind of that same thing. I think we've seen this kind of over and over again. They're making these speed ups without the expectation of it coming back. You know what I'm always impressed with is Dekel, for such a big guy, his footwork, he turns his toes so well. He moves so lightly. It's impressive. So that's it. That's kind of, you see that McGuffin, when he's being successful, he's taking a little longer holding the ball before he strikes it, which is extremely important from a tempo standpoint. There you go. That's a pickleball point right there. That's an elongated point that's creating the opportunity. And again, so then Pisnik decides to pull the trigger. But McGuffin, he was ready to punch it right back down. So that's a point that they needed. Yeah, it's wide open, and again, it comes from most of the issues that we're seeing on Pisnik and Barr's side is the stacking. It's the getting into position off the return. And it's a well-played point. They've had a couple that they've let go, and I'm not sure if they remember that the wind has been going with them for part of this point. And so, but you could see the energy's a lot better, so they're not too upset about that loss there.
It's very close, so it's very hard to tell if you should be getting back the wind adjustments. Definitely understand how that's happening.
I think that's an issue that a lot of players have. Is the ball going in? Is it going out? There we go. And Dizon was kind of waiting, sitting on it, waiting for that ball to come so she could take advantage of it, and she did. That's fantastic. Pisnik seems to be playing a little more cross-court from her position. There you go, and that's kind of what we saw a little bit earlier in the first game. Barr kind of really owning that line and taking up space, and he's a little bit more motivated right now.
Serve now, 5-6.
And I like it. Again, he's trying to be aggressive on a shorter ball, but when it's low and the wind, can be difficult, can sail a little bit. There you go, and she's yelling, and that one's going out, I promise you. And that's something that you see Barr is kind of well known for, his earnings, his ability to move around the post, and Dizon really had good reaction to that, was able to keep him in the point, and they turned it around very, very nicely.
Great hands there too.
Absolutely. She kind of covered, obviously her partner was out of position, played some good defense, allowing him to get back in the point. And that's a shot we saw that they missed kind of early. We haven't seen Pisnik hit that ball in a minute because she missed a couple, but you could see she took a little bit more time with that, and Dizon was ready for it, but overshot it. I mean, that's a fantastic well-play point. It's offense, defense, kind of a combination. Fantastic on both sides. And when Dekel had the chance, he's like, I want to finish this. I want to use my strength. And he finished it off. So it's bringing him the gap a little bit tighter, getting the ball back. There we go. And that's something I think we talk a lot about, like taking balls in the air, taking time away when dinking, but you notice a lot of times that importance of letting the ball bounce, because that's going to kind of disguise your shot a little bit more and be able to speed a ball up or slow it down while kind of messing with your opponent's tempo. And that's something that McGuffin did very well in that last point.
McGuffin and Dizon definitely finding a rhythm here. They are still keeping the lead at 7-5 for serve.
Now that one, they were expecting to get that, right? That changeover, but you saw Barr got there a little bit faster and was able to get into position much quicker than they had in the previous points.
Definitely made that look easy.
Yeah. But I think that's awful, like people don't understand is a lot of these, it takes 2-3 steps to get to that line when you're that size. So I think, you know, obviously right now McGuffin maybe should be considering dropping the ball versus driving, because the drives kind of are stopping working, and this is that time we look at, should we change tactically what our decisions are. I think that's tough. Dizon had the right attack. It was the right time to do it, and that let cord really changed. It worked on the side of Barr to be able to come back in and counter that. And again, that's we're seeing that nice hold on the ball bouncing. You saw Barr do it very well right there. And this is something we talk about a lot with our amateurs is, again, notice how important that forehand is when they're dinking and when they're setting up the point. I think a lot of times players, rec players, they want to hit a lot of backhands. They think that that's going to give them the most. But the more we utilize that forehand space, there's a lot more maneuverability, disguise on the shots, more options. You do. It just happens. You know, you can see it's like it's almost kind of being a little bit dainty with it. You've got the wind with you, and sometimes it just doesn't work. There we go. And that's something you're seeing more. Pisnik and Barr, when they're attacking, they're usually ready for that next ball. They're anticipating it is going to come back, and that's huge when it comes to that. And now that attack didn't come back, so that worked out very well. They're putting some pressure and. No. Yeah, Probably not exactly the strategy or the plan, but I mean, celebrate what you can right there. It's got the hands on it. It's a tough match. It's a good win. And we've got McGuffin to start serving. They have their first opportunity at a game point. And that's the one that's frustrating, right?
That's the one that you think about later and later.
Oh, yeah.
I have to say the bar, maybe the sun coming out suddenly could have contributed.
We do. We've got some sun. We're grateful for it. The sun is on our back right now. There we go. And like I was saying this earlier, this is what McGuffin and Dizon need to do. They need to move the ball. They've got to open up the court. They've got to play behind Dekel. When they're doing it, they're winning those points. So this is their second game point. Those 3 leg cords in a row, and it worked out for Dizon and McGuffin, so they're taking into it.
From the world's most iconic tennis arenas to the glint of an Olympic gold medal, a new court beckons, a new challenge arises. Jack Sock has conquered tennis. Now, pickleball's next. Mastery, precision, passion, that's what champions are made of. And when it comes to pickleball, there's only one company they turn to. Jack Sock's legacy continues with the #1 brand in pickleball. Selkirk Sport. We are pickleball.
0-0. Everyone's got their feet moving. They're ready. Okay, everyone's coming out in this, let's rip some balls, which is fine, I get that. But it's also very tricky at the beginning of a new game. If you're adjusting to wind and those types of things, your timing can get a little off. And there's that down the middle again. And again, McGuffin hit the ball in the middle. And like I was saying earlier, if you hit the ball down the middle, you've got to expect it back down the middle. And so earlier they made that adjustment, so they probably will also make that same adjustment.
So good.
And, well, like I said, it's the right speed ups, but I always say your rule of thumb, it's got to come back, #1, but if you speed up a ball, the minimum number of shots you're going to hit is 3. So if you anticipate, I'm going to hit 3 offensive shots, then the likelihood of winning that point is much greater. I mean, the leg cords are working out in their advantage right now. You don't think it was heartfelt? Maybe. I always feel like a little sorry for it. I mean, what a great, like, Dizon keeping that ball in, keeping it low, and just a little missed timing, but they're doing the right thing, so that's what matters.
Still early on here, 0-1.
I mean, that's a big point. Fantastic on both sides. Obviously, some frustration out of Dizon. And Bar, I mean, the coverage on that, he barely got his paddle earlier, but kept back in the point. I mean, look how easy that was. Barr was kind of looking for, and that's kind of what I'm saying is that they've got to go back to playing behind Barr a little bit more. Otherwise, it's just going to invite him into that forehand.
Pickleball, he's going to maximize it every time.
So I like that. A little two-handed flick from Barr as he's come in, and again, the importance of that bounce on that speed up, it makes it difficult for Barr to kind of read that and time it perfectly. And there's that ball again. And so I would say this, I'm a big fan of let's move around and take that forehand. However, if we're going around and taking that forehand, we still need to cover the space that we're opening up. And I think that's the only difference is that there's been times that he's maybe not recovered anticipating that middle ball.
So Dizon and McGuffin are going to have their shot now. Start up 0-3. Let's see. I think you just got to get the first one on and keep rolling.
We've seen it at our matches before. It's super easy to kind of, once you get that point, there you go. That's what they needed, and it's going to mean a little bit more.
Definitely pump McGuffin.
Yeah, take whatever you can.
Feed off that energy.
And that's it. Like 1, 2, 3. It's coming back. Keep going. Be ready for that. Keep attacking. Keep attacking. That's what's going to create more points on your scoreboard.
Started with a big serve from Dizon. A great serve. I think it paused just a second to see if it was.
When the world sleeps, greatness rises. And while others dream of the next level, we chase it. Challenging every limit, turning obstacles into stepping stones. Because the next level isn't just handed to you. It's earned. Go next level with 6-0 Pickleball.
Second time Pisnik on a return has hit that wall, so you can tell they're putting a lot of pressure with that serve, and they're switching through. And let's see if they're going to go for that stack again, going across the court. But Barr's ready for that. So he's like, he knows he's covering a little more ground, but he's ready for that drive coming back on the next one. Yeah, when you got that win, and we've talked about this in other matches, the importance of changes of pace and changes of spin and the bounce, and adding the wind to it is going to make the timing a little more difficult. I mean, that's a fantastic shot. I think Dekel had a look at it, and
We all had to look.
we had to look. That's true. And this is important for the side change. Like we said, it's Barr and Pisnik want to kind of do as much damage as they can while they're on the good side before they end up on the side that's been a little trickier. So it would be great for them to have the lead when they came over to this side. And that right there is, I think, what makes Barr dangerous is he can hit that Ernie soft, he can kind of move, he can cover a lot of ground, but I want to point out how much communication is happening. I don't know if the mics are picking it up. There's maybe what kind of spin there is. So
Back in with Pisnik, Barr leading Dizon and McGuffin.
I mean, that's fantastic defense. McGuffin was pretty much in control of that, but pressing forward and being able to keep the ball down as they got in put a lot of stress. That's maybe the fourth ball I'd say that they let go, and it lands right on that line, which nothing's more frustrating when you have a shot on it and you let it go.
It does indeed look like it's going.
Yeah. And you could see the pressure that Pisnik and Barr are putting on right now. They're moving a little faster. They're coming in a little quicker.
Very soft touch. Very key to their success here, too.
Absolutely. That's what I really liked about that point is even from that defense, that first ball that Barr struck when he got to that line, he let it bounce, he took his time and settled into the point. And we have a match point. And Barr went for it. He's like, we have been serving this whole time. Let's go for it. And so Dizon and McGuffin get the ball back. There we go. That's what McGuffin wanted right there, just a little bit, got a short return. And again, because what we did talk about is the importance of the return on this side. If they don't keep it deep, that does put Dizon and McGuffin in an advantage with the wind. Okay, I mean, that's fantastic. 3 balls from Dizon. She was ready. I mean, going against someone twice her size, she had a little fun on that. You know it.
Obviously, we have great seams. I don't think I can fully explain how close these balls are. They're right on the line, perfectly, landing perfectly.
I mean, that's not a ball that's going to pop up often. It's complete mishit from Barr, and McGuffin is even confused by that. They are challenging the call, but it does not seem like there's a referee willing to overrule it. It's a very tricky angle. I mean, that right there, that's what I'm talking about earlier. Barr's now playing behind McGuffin. McGuffin's wanting that middle space and soft behind him. And that's giving another second match point for Pisnik and Barr. And that's just, it's unfortunate because that's not a ball they miss often, but Pisnik and Dekel played steady throughout that entire match. They were able to kind of, even when they were down.